By May 2026, Meta Platforms had plunged into a period its own employees referred to internally as the 28 Days of Hell. Over a grueling 4-week stretch, 8,000 workers packed up their desks across global offices, representing a massive 10% cut to the company's headcount. These extreme reductions typically signal a company in deep financial distress, but Meta was experiencing the exact opposite. They were posting massive revenue spikes, bringing in over $56 billion in a single quarter, while their stock price surged. Corporate public relations departments have a well-rehearsed script for this exact scenario. They call it the AI productivity miracle. The story suggests that machine learning tools have made human developers so efficient that companies require a fraction of the workforce to achieve the exact same output. But the facts on the ground reveal a different reality. When highly profitable technology giants systematically clear out tens of thousands of desks, it reveals a severe break in the traditional logic of business growth. A company's financial success is no longer tied to expanding its human payroll. The polished narrative of the productivity miracle started to crack when Arnav Gupta, a software engineer at Meta, published a detailed breakdown of the internal mechanics driving the cuts. His analysis quickly went viral and earned a very public endorsement from veteran tech founders like Zoho CEO Sridhar Vembu, who confirmed the same brutal mathematics were operating inside his own company. The ultimate confirmation came straight from Mark Zuckerberg during an internal Meta town hall. Abandoning the usual corporate euphemisms about streamlining, he laid out a stark binary. Meta has two main expenses: compute infrastructure and people. Zuckerberg explicitly told his staff that massively increasing investments in servers and data centers automatically dictates less capital is available for salaries. The infrastructure costs are far more direct than the threat of job automation. In this new financing model, the physical hardware required to run artificial intelligence is directly consuming the budget previously reserved for human salaries. Look at this balance scale tracking Meta's internal resource allocation. On one side, you have their entire global human compensation bill, every salary, benefit, and stock option for nearly 79,000 people. That costs $27 billion a year. On the other side is their newly updated capital expenditure guidance for AI infrastructure, a staggering $145 billion. The server budget is now roughly 5 times the size of the payroll, and Meta is acting entirely within the new industry standard. If we pull back to look at the top 4 tech hyperscalers, Amazon, Microsoft, Alphabet, and Meta, their combined capital expenditures for 2026 will hit $725 billion. That single line item rivals the budgets of sovereign nations. This cash is flowing directly into concrete, steel, and silicon. Because these 4 giants are caught in a hardware arms race, they have consumed the global supply of memory chips and compute components. Over a single year, global server prices hyperinflated by 300%. Executives managing these balance sheets have zero leverage against skyrocketing municipal energy contracts or hardware costs. To find the required liquidity, they are gutting their own staffs. Mid-sized firms like T-Tech have even suspended 401k retirement matches, explicitly stating the money is being redirected to fund AI infrastructure. In the modern corporate ledger, human beings are the only flexible variable left. They are the only asset capable of being liquidated fast enough to keep up with the financial demands of machine learning. To understand why engineers are being sacrificed to buy servers, we have to look at how software is currently being written. A massive cultural shift known as vibe coding has taken over the industry, actively championed by leaders like Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai. Developers use natural language voice prompts to let AI models write the actual syntax, driving a massive increase in the sheer volume of generated code. This diagram illustrates the immediate structural problem with vibe coding. The left side is the input, the raw code. The right side is the outcome, actual revenue generated by a finished product. AI multiplied the input exponentially, but flooding a matrixed organization with half-baked prototypes creates instant organizational gridlock. This results in conflicting features that cost money to host and test, but deliver zero outcome to the consumer. As the meter tracks the API usage, the hidden financial toll becomes visible. Every time a developer uses these advanced models to write code, they burn through computational tokens. A single engineer heavily utilizing these models racks up a $30,000 annual infrastructure bill for their employer. Across the entire sector, tech companies are desperately trying to offset a combined $70 billion annual token deficit. The fastest way for an executive to stop this specific financial bleed is simply to remove the engineer. Firing the developer instantly eliminates the organizational bloat, scrubs the salary from the ledger, and permanently halts the daily accumulation of AI token fees. Giving developers AI tools actually destroyed their organizational value while simultaneously driving corporate operating costs into the red. Software bloat is only a fraction of the problem. The continuous rollout of highly demanding models guarantees that the need for massive data centers will accelerate. OpenAI's GPT Real-Time 2, which processes live audio natively with complex reasoning in a single loop, requires immense continuous server processing power for every single user interaction. To meet these extreme physical power demands, AI laboratories are executing massive physical alliances. Anthropic recently secured exclusive rights to lease the entirety of the Colossus 1 supercomputer cluster from SpaceX. This single facility gives them access to hundreds of megawatts of raw power, tied directly to over 220,000 high-performance GPUs. But terrestrial power is no longer enough. Anthropic and SpaceX are actively planning to launch multiple gigawatts of data center infrastructure directly into space. By using Starship rockets to deploy server clusters into low Earth orbit, they can harness uninterrupted solar energy 24 hours a day. Bypassing the Earth's municipal power grids has become a strict geographic necessity. The models demand more energy than local infrastructure can physically generate, while terrestrial environmental regulations severely cap the construction of new power plants. The binding constraint on technological expansion is officially no longer the acquisition of human brainpower. It is the physical procurement of raw electricity. Financial markets are actively validating this brutal transition. When Meta first announced its massive infrastructure spending, investors panicked, triggering a sharp sell-off. But the moment the 8,000 human job cuts were fully confirmed, the market reversed course, sending Meta's stock surging over 6% in a single day. These targeted structural purges eliminated over 92,000 generalized tech jobs across the global industry in just the first 4 months of 2026. This period saw the systematic removal of middle management and traditional software engineers, whose primary function, writing boilerplate code, is now the first thing to be automated. Simultaneously, there are roughly 275,000 highly specialized AI engineering roles sitting completely empty. The workers being laid off by the thousands simply cannot cross the extreme mathematical and technical divide required to fill those exact requisitions. Wall Street has looked at the balance sheets and delivered a clear mandate. Institutional investors are actively rewarding the liquidation of the tech middle class to free up the capital required to build out the physical data center infrastructure. For professionals navigating this unforgiving macroeconomic shift, Zoho CEO Sridhar Vembu offered a path forward. His advice centers on abandoning the metrics of the past. Because artificial intelligence has completely commoditized raw code generation, the ability to rapidly write basic syntax holds exactly zero market value. Enterprise customers will no longer pay a premium for the code itself because the machine can generate it for fractions of a penny. The new mandate for survival requires deep domain expertise. Workers must transform themselves from syntax translators into strategic product architects. The industry desperately needs humans who understand complex business logic and can ensure that the endless flood of AI-generated code is actually legally compliant, highly secure, and capable of generating real profit. The reality of the silicon squeeze is unavoidable. The layoffs will continue until the massive global bill for physical data centers is fully paid. Human survival in the technology sector now depends entirely on proving undeniable financial value at the outcome stage of the business.